that little lake over there is something. I just launched my boat down that hill. There's a steep hill that you need a rope to go down. You know, it's really steep.
Right.
But the other 3 sides the railroad owns, so you can no trespassing there. But they can't post this because they don't. But there's no boat, so I just lowered the boat down on the rope, pushed it through the tires and railroad ties, and but there's a lot of wildlife over there and a lot of pollution. You know, I know they were getting a lot of ink thrown in their barrels of ink and kind leftovers from making newspaper ink. You know, the residuals and yeah, we drove cars and bulldozers in there, and when they were trying to pave it, make it into, it used to be all woods from here to the fairgrounds.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, skunks, trap animals, and it was like I was Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn over there, and I'm in the ghetto here having race riots. So, you know. And again, this grand experiment they had with the busing and integration was fine, but they could have told us a little bit about, okay, this is Martian, it's girls, you know. We're all guys, and now, with Zoomies, ha Gandhi, hey, you gonna do Zoomie? Yeah, they you know, it's kind of like just being subject to girls or blacks. It's like all of a sudden, what's a black? What do you know? What do you hear about? Oh, they're tougher than a bullhead, you know. And I'm going, geez, the bullet's the toughest thing I've ever seen. You know, sit on the side of the river, out of the water for 3 hours, still flapping, man. You can't kill them. So I mean, I'm 3, 4, 5 years old or whatever, you know, I don't know. And they didn't talk about it. My parents weren't racist, luckily, and so we didn't really talk about it, and which we didn't know, you know. And then when it did happen, all I knew was that I used to be the fastest guy running around the block. When the beginning of school, we'd have this race, all the students running around the block, and I'd be in front of them all. And then they did busing, and all of a sudden I was second. Robert Crow was in front of me, looking like Mr. Olympian. And I'm going, just one of my little legs off, and he's going. And all the way around the block, I just tried to catch him. And everybody else, 45 behind us, was just so confident, looking so good. And you know, all I thought is, that dude's fast, that dude's graceful. I don't know what graceful is, but he is it.
That is it.
Yeah, and I wasn't going to imitate it or nothing. I just kind of gave up and went, well, I'll do something else, you know. But he turned out to be like one of the best guys I know.
You said you in between prison time. So how much time you do altogether?
Yeah, I don't add up the time. I got 3 major busts, you
okay.
know, the 50 pounds of pot, and started off shotgun when I was 18.
Okay.
And counterfeit money when I was 20. So then I got 0 to 7 on the counterfeit money. 30 days on the 50 pounds because I had no record at all. I was like squeaky clean. So now I went from squeaky clean to criminal. You know,
fast.
Felon, can't, you know, I mean, drug dealer, okay, not the pot dealer, but a drug dealer, you know.
Yeah, it was considered dope.
Yeah, you were done. You pretty much, you know, your applications, you know, especially if you're in a smaller town and anybody knows you got busted, you know, you better get your own thing.
Cancel that,
yeah.
Oh, ain't you so-and-so, boy?
Yeah, well, seriously, you got 50 pounds, you know.
Yep. You got any on you?
Pretty much. You know, everybody did it, but, you know, nobody could, it was also hush-hush, in which it still is. It's the only state where you can't say marijuana in a restaurant while you're at dinner, because everybody...
I don't understand that. I don't understand that.
So much paranoia, and the country's to blame for it. I mean, they've done so much to fuck so many people over, and you know, I mean, people are just scared as hell of them. If they're not intimidating you with their force, you know, they're scaring you with what they can do, and people know they can and will do it.
You got any lucky stories where you just had stuff in the car and
10 years of them. I mean, 10 years, one bad story, but there's so many of them where they just didn't look here.
Right.
If they would have went just a little bit farther there, you know, things would have been bad. You know, my luckiest story was the Secret Service in Texas, and I was quitting dealing. That's it. I was 86, I think, and been through the whole shebang by then. Up, down, quarter pound, hundreds of pounds, and I got down to I'm marrying my girlfriend. Things kind of went bad in Florida, and I was just cocaine and whatever, and we were going to get married. She's in the Air Force. I'm going to move away and let it all go behind me. And I bought a marijuana tax stamp so that my friend could make T-shirts. If you're going to taxize it, legalize it. That's the whole mystery behind it. But when I bought them, they freaked out. They, you know, they were, I thought I'd go to a counter and pay, you know, I had my lawyer with me so I didn't have to say nothing. But they got facial recognition at the BCA where I had to go to buy them, and then they went to instead of a booth or they had me go in a conference room with about 11, 12 guys with suits. You know, I'm going, uh-oh. You know, and they questioned me, and I'd look over to the lawyer, and the lawyer would, you know, some stupid little answer like, yeah, you know, I mean, just, but they had nobody come in and buy them, so, you know, this was emergency. So I get on the plane, I got my briefcase with me with about 20 lighters in it, and one of the lighters had a secret compartment where I had my dope in it. And flying to Texas with the dope is a kind of a crazy, you know, I mean, if you get caught down there,
Even now.
Yeah, I know.
Even now.
Texas is not nice.
You get caught with a joint, that's
yeah.
Vegas
and then
like
with my
that.
record, you know, I've been convicted by the Secret Service. I have a 50-pound, you know, and then you got dope in Texas, your judge is going to fucking slam you. So they interrogate me. They got a Sky Marshal next to me on a plane, and I opened up my briefcase, and I had darts where the pen should go with pot leaves on the flights. And he just started in, you know, if I catch any of that, my daughter getting any of that, and And I told him, I said, your daughter ain't getting, this is a daughter of 86, you couldn't, a pound of pot went from 800 to 3,200 if you could get it. And that was the worst year of my life. You know, I just lost everything. I had stash houses, I had cars running, drivers, and then it just stopped. No explanation, no, usually something happened on the border and you'd find out what, and it'd start up again in a week or two. But this time I had fly the drivers home and fly new ones down because it's going to come next week. And that went on for months and months until I finally had to just disband everything and take it home. And that's when we got into the cocaine because there was no cannabis. And everybody had money to spend, but they couldn't find no pot, so they'd buy a gram of coke. You know, and now I'm taking off in that business. And that was just so I could keep my money up and get back in the pot when it did come around. It was my whole theory. So I'm with this guy, Marshall, and he's talking like that, and he's big, ugly looking, you know. He said he's a satellite salesman. I'm going, yeah, you know, the satellites, like the satellite TV? No, the Russians, well, so you sound like a bad guy. I know what he was right away, you know. It was like, dude, you know. But that they got him on that fast, because I went from the BCA to the airport with my lawyer, got on the plane and left, gave him the stamps to go, you know, get the T-shirts made, and so in the flight, this guy's bugging me, and you know, I say a couple little things, but I was nicely debating him, and you know, I just came from Farm Aid, the first Farm Aid, and all the farmers were losing their farms. It just seemed so un-American, you know, and they have this guy spouting that same lie that you always hear. I just, you know, dissed him, and I told him, you know, I said, hey, we're at Farm Aid, the president, you know, I said, if I seen him, I'd put a Nerf gun to his head, or a farmer, and say, hey, you know, take care of us. And I said, you got to be careful what you say, because, you know, Secret Service president, I said, it wouldn't hurt a baby, but it might start his brain thinking. So that's the reason they landed the plane and took me off. Told my wife I wasn't even on the plane. She's in the airport down there waiting for me. You know, I got a ticket to, you know. No, he's not on the plane. No, he didn't even have a ticket. And I'm going, these guys will just lie, you know. And they got nothing on me yet except for that I threatened the president with a Nerf gun. So they went through my briefcase, and as they're going through it, they got one guy looks like Lurch, like 6'5", just ugly, and the other guy looks like the professor from Gilligan's Island, you know, salt and pepper beard, nice, and they were talking to me on throughout, what are the stamps for, what are you going to do with them, blah, blah, blah. And I knew that the interview, instead of the drugs, what drugs you got, was the stamps, what are you going to, you know, and I told him I'm going to make a T-shirt, you know, with the grassroots party, and that was '86. So the one cop was going through, the Lurch guy was going through my briefcase, lighting every lighter in there. Got about 20 of them, you know, lighting them, and they light, and they chewing them, lighting. threw it in and lit. And the last one he got to, he lit and it didn't light, and he lit and it didn't light, and he threw it in and shut the thing. I was like, okay, now. So what do you want to talk about? Oh, this. I went off on him. He said, you'll never see it legal in the United States. I said, hey, I just came from Alaska. I said, you steal my plants, I'll have your ass arrested. That shut him up pretty much. Last I heard, Alaska was part of the United States. I won down to 49 to go. I said, you don't even know what you're talking about. I ain't going to talk to you no more. Because I was scared. I couldn't say anything. You know, anything was bad, but here was my one opening to get in there, get my licks, and get out, you know.
Right.
So I said, you know, last I heard, so the salt and pepper guy took over, you know, and he said, hey, well, what would you say? We're here about the president. If you've seen the president right now, what would you say? It's like, hey, Mr. Nixon, I didn't vote for you, but we're all counting on you. Don't let us down, you know. And he said, I said, tell the DEA we're not going to do this shit no more. We'd protect the president and the fucking county money, and that's all we do, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I'm going, and he's going, what are they going to about him? He said, let him go. I said, I got 400 miles to go. That ain't my problem. You know, I was so mad. I was so mad that I decided that this war is back on. Okay, I'm back dealing. You know, it wasn't 2 weeks I'm running 40 pounds of hash down to Texas because that's, you know, and then, but that was probably the closest to really getting nailed in Texas, because I don't want to be in Texas. I don't want to do 20 years in Texas jail.
Not for a joint.
No, well, yeah, I'm fighting a battle and they got me. You know,
what do you say about the situation that just happened in South Dakota? What are your thoughts on that? Where it got legalized, and then I told my friend, I said that has something to do with money. Somebody done went